Lexie and Kelsey talked about, the little lapses that great teams can capitalize on when you guys have them. Just how did that affect you today, especially in that second quarter run near halftime?
Yeah, turnovers certainly hurt us. I think there were like three turnovers in a row that led to threes. Turnovers hurt us, and our lack of attention to detail defensively. I thought our defense in the second half was outstanding, but it's got to be for 40 minutes, and it's got to be all five. It can't just be two or three, and then another two or three that aren't. It's got to be all five. We got to be connected on both ends of the floor, and when you're trying to beat really great teams, you got to play. You don't have to play perfect, but you got to play pretty damn close. And we were still in position at the end to give ourselves an opportunity. And in that possession where Kelsey hit a three, we gave up 3 offensive rebounds again. Like, that can't happen.
Yeah, is there a way that you kind of, as the coaching staff, can stop those lapses, or is it kind of player-led when it's happening on the court?
I think you try to call timeouts to stop momentum. You try to call some things that can get us some good looks, try to address the problems in live action. But ultimately, it's got to be executed on the floor. And again, we're talking about, implementing 3 new players that are playing a lot of minutes for us. And so some of our defensive coverages are different, a little bit different, and making sure that they're attuned to what we're doing. And if we make adjustments, we got to make sure everybody's on the same page.
The Mercury had 23 foul shots compared to 8 for you guys. Just how did that fouling impact the game as well?
It always impacts the games.
And I guess throughout the stretch too, especially in these past couple games, you've talked about just focusing on the next game up. Mm-hmm. That's what Kelsey mentioned too in this final stretch. Just how important is it to just keep your focus on the one specific game and not think about standings or anything? I
think it's important because we still control what we can control, right? We still control our destiny, and we still have to make sure that we are playing the game that's in front of us. And I think oftentimes if you start to look too far ahead, you miss opportunities that are right in front of you. And so we got to be solely focused on our next opponent. Get some rest tomorrow, come back and get some work in on Thursday, and get ready for Chicago.
There's obviously that Phoenix, I think it was 12-3 run in the second quarter that kind of changed from I think you were a 3-point deficit to 15 points. Just how did that change the game?
I think.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, heading into halftime, I think there was a timeout with like 2 minutes left, and then that was about the time they went on that run. And I think for us, it was just those lapses of focus on our defensive game plan, and they're a good team. They take advantage of those. So, it's going to take a full 40 minutes for us. I feel like we came back in the second half and competed a lot better and locked in on what we wanted to do defensively. But, again, it's those little runs that hurt us and really changed the game.
Is there anything kind of at this point in the season you can do specifically to try to stop those runs? Or, is it timeouts, or is it just kind of locking in, as you said?
I think that it's more so just kind of staying home. Like, if we could just... Because I think there's still growth to be made no matter where we are in our season, just about knowing our schemes and knowing what we need to be for what the Fever have worked on. I think that we should be honed in a lot more, because I think those small lapses make great teams capitalize off of it. Lots of times this who she is for a reason, but she'll capitalize off the small ones, and I think that's where we have to be better so we don't give people that chance.
And Kelsey, you had 15 points in the first quarter, finished with 29. Just what was working for you, especially in that first?
Well, I like to think that as the last 2 meetings, as the game changed, I change. As the opponent changed, I change. And so I just like to take what people give me, utilize my teammates to, be aggressive and stay who I am. But it ultimately just comes down to, having an aggressiveness, having a grit, and being able to play with your team.
And then there's kind of 3 games left in the season. You're fighting in between that 6 and 8 spot in the standings. Just what is the message for this final little stretch?
Focus on the one on Friday.
That's exactly what she told us, actually. To Lexie's point, all we can do is control what we control, and that's Friday. Lord willing, we prepare the right way. We show up as a group leading up to Friday, and I think that I'm just down to swear knowing that I believe in our group. I believe in every person in our locker room. I believe in our coaching staff, and I think that Friday is the most important for us, so that's all we can focus on right now.
And I think you just talked about your teammates, but can you speak to the resilience of your teammates through all these struggles and injuries and everything, and how proud you are of your teammates and everything?
Yeah, I think that I don't know.
Show some love, you know?
I've never really been around a group that's been so resilient. I'll be honest. I mean, the injuries, let alone, but even like people like Lexie could have sat out, you know, with her injury to her face. You know, I just think like it's not trying to be funny. It's just like we could easily quit, and I think like the respect that I have for her is an example. But I just think that we could easily give up, and we haven't. I think that speaks for itself because at any given moment, playing against professionals day in and day out, it's hard. It's not easy, and I think that we could have easily tucked our tail and said, well, we're just going to, you know, mess up the season. But I think the resiliency in our locker room kind of shows from person to person.